Stream is live.
Hey, check it out. We're
Hey.
live. What should we talk about?
Oh man. Let's talk about our kids.
No, our
No?
kids are amazing, but let's hold on. Welcome everybody to our webinar. Oh, Robin, how I love you. inHarmony
Love you
and
too, bud.
SoundSelf. We upgrade each other, and we're going to take about 30 minutes today. We're going to go through some slides that we've created, but really what we want to talk about is the science from inHarmony, the science from SoundSelf, how we play really nice together, some upgrades on the inHarmony side, upgrades on the SoundSelf side, and then we're going to do a little Q&A if we get some questions, and we'll go from there. Does that sound
Dude,
like
I'm
a
really
plan?
excited about the new vibroacoustic bed that you've got.
Right?
Yeah.
And you have a full new system as well.
I know.
Tablet.
Yeah.
You got some new stuff going on as well. So it's a very exciting time. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I like it. All right. So we'll move us over here. We've got this little fancy, amazing deck. And
I'll share y'all. Anybody has any questions coming up? A big part of our intention for this conversation was we both got these new technologies coming out. They complement each other extremely well. And we really want to hear from you. Hey, Michael. Michael's a user of both technologies. So we really want to hear from you. If you have any questions, we've got our things that we want to share with you, but we want to know from the community, what are you curious about? This is an Ask Me Anything. Ask us anything. We're really excited to share with you guys.
Anything. Like really, between the two of us, there's nothing we can't answer about these technologies and how they play together. So talk about having some powerful resources.
Well, it's actually, it's not to pat ourselves too hard on the back, but it's serious. We've both been in the field of immersive sensory technologies and their therapeutic application, and for about a decade, for as long as these things have existed, we have been in it. We've been in the front lines of the research. We've been in the front lines of the business side of things. We've been in the front lines of the product development. So for anybody like interested, not only in these technologies and how they go together, and I think they're the best technology in the field, seriously. But if you're interested, if you have curiosities, where is this going? How does AI fit into these things? Craig and I have spent hours and hours and hours discussing these things, researching them. So it's an opportunity for you to seriously, any curiosities about the field of immersive technologies and sensory technologies for therapy and so on. You've got two people here who've really cut the cake on it. I just made that up. Cut the cake.
Dialogue about that. Well, hey, let's do it. Look, we've certainly logged the hours. I think that's a great question. How does AI? Let's definitely touch on that.
Yeah. Look, do you want to do the presentation first, or do you want to do a little? Let's do a little conversation first. We're already having it.
We could do a little conversation first. I think that works for me. Look, yeah. I think you bring up a really great point, and that is we've been in this field and watched it grown around us. Dom and I were just together for those of you who don't know who Dom is my business partner, and we were just together in Phoenix for 5 days, and we were talking about how far not just our technology, but also our partnerships and their technologies have come over the past 10 years since we've been starting. 9 years this November. It's wild. And we have largely built the ecosystem on the vibroacoustic side of things. We've seen countless competitors come online, and we're starting to watch them go offline and fade away as we've just kept our blinders on and continue to do what we do. But this space where people are looking to take their own mental health and emotional health into their own hands has literally grown around us. It has really started to blossom over the last few years, but even the last few months, it feels like there's been a new renaissance and explosion.
Well, I think something that you guys have done phenomenally well, you talk about some of your competitors have come offline, online, and then offline again. The thing that inHarmony has gotten really right from the get-go, and it's what allows us to plug in. It's the reason for our business relationship and our friendship, is that you guys have had the vision of the vibroacoustics as like a foundation level layer, And as a platform, it's a piece of technology, but it's also a platform that is very easy for other creators, innovators, technologists to plug into. And so it's very easy to see the vibroacoustics as a technology layer and to build onto it. And that's kind of the foundation of that's how we came into it. Is we realized when we were originally developing SoundSelf, wouldn't it be great to have some vibroacoustic layer on here? And you've been a great business partner, a great friend, and also the technology is not a walled garden. All we need to do is plug into it with Bluetooth or with an auxiliary, which we do, and so the result is that vibroacoustics are spreading not just on their own, and they're incredibly powerful on their own. It's so nice and so easy to lie on a vibroacoustic bed, put on some music, have an immersive experience like that, and let the day wash away. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
then,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Look, it's been fun to watch how you have augmented and utilized inHarmony products as a haptic feedback to what you're already developing and how seamless that works. And of course, we shared some booth space. I was out there to support you at Psychedelic Science. We've done this many times before at various events all around the country, and to see how the two of them play with one another, to see the faces light up of folks immersing themselves in their own voice, toning, and hearing and feeling the haptic feedback through obviously the headphones, which you're wearing now, which have that incredible microphone. And where did my headphones go? Oh, yeah, they're right here, right? And the microphone and the feedback, and it's a really powerful combination of two technologies. And we obviously promote what you're doing regularly.
Thank you.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Veronica. It's
Hi,
nice
Veronica.
to see everybody here. And we obviously promote quite a bit what SoundSelf is doing. And the reason for that is because first of all, I love you. And I've said this over and over again. Second of all, and most importantly, I truly believe in these two technologies together, working hand in hand to help enhance the human experience, to help reach those altered states of consciousness without exogenous compounds, without the risk or the liability of what some of that comes with, depending on your home life and what you're doing for work. And these incredible tools that we get to co-create together, in my opinion, are at the cutting edge of science and research. I know that's how you started, which was a big part of why I wanted to work with you. Science and research is something that's very important to me, which is why I wanted to lead with that today, when I could have talked about anything, but I want to lead with our science and research. I want to lead with your science and research, which I know has been so prominent for the first 6 years of your existence. And then, well, at some point, we're going to have to start doing some science and research together, which I also know is around the corner.
Yeah. Well, why don't we go ahead and get into some of the slides and get into some of the research? Because I think a lot of people don't know just how busy we've been behind the scenes conducting formal studies.
All right.
And
so
by the way,
Robin and myself, the last time we were here, and just a little agenda so people know what we're doing here. In the next 22 minutes, we're going to get through the inHarmony science and research, the inHarmony experience, the SoundSelf experience, SoundSelf research and best practices. And then we're going to talk about how we upgrade your inHarmony experience with SoundSelf, or upgrade your SoundSelf experience with inHarmony. And of course, we'll get there into questions as well. I see a bunch of people that are watching us live. If you do have questions, feel free to post those in the comments. If you're an inHarmony client already in our Telegram group, you can post questions there. I'll do a foul swoop through there just right before the end as well. Very excited to have everybody here. So I will kind of kick this off with some inHarmony science and research, which is something that we're very proud of and very excited about. And it's been something that we've been working on really for the last 2 years or so, year and a half, 2 years. And the initial research is, in my opinion, remarkable. But I want to talk about the kind of the purpose, the method, and the analysis of what we're doing and how we do it. And that is really to explore the immediate effects of vibroacoustic therapy using our technology. Our participants, they basically filled out a before and an after, which is the easiest way for us to collect data. And then once that before and after questionnaire is filled out, It's then analyzed, obviously, and then we're able to pull that data set out of what we're doing. And I kind of shortened this up from the deck that Robin and I went through, but the results have been absolutely remarkable. Anytime you see a star or 2 stars that is statistically significant, which obviously in the science and research world tells a very specific story, but you can see these reductions in anxiety, fatigue, stress, brain fog, increases in energy, increases in well-being, increase in physical comfort, increase in an emotional state, increased focus and concentration, mood, mental clarity, and relaxation. Across the board, you're starting to see, I think, a very remarkable response of people sharing exactly how they're feeling. And of course, us measuring this through our results as well. And here's
Can I
obviously.
jump in on that, Craig, on that last
Absolutely.
slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I want people to understand is that there's a sea change happening right now in terms of how people think, how professionals think about mental health. And a big part of this has to do with um, a reintegration of consciousness into the field of study. You couldn't study 10 years ago. I remember this. 10 years ago, you couldn't study consciousness while being, if you wanted to be taken seriously as an academic, which left a whole field of, kind of the whole field, so to speak, out of study. But what we're seeing right now is the breaking of a paradigm that's lasted for about 100 years. And the paradigm, what that paradigm was, mental health and medicine in general, is that herbs don't work. Anything that you do to change your external surrounding or to change how you're interfacing with the external surrounding, the internal work doesn't work if you're doing serious work. What works is a pill. That was the dominant paradigm. And that's changing. That's changing extremely rapidly. And so these statistically significant measures that we're seeing, well, this is great for anybody. And I think that's another thing about these technologies. They're non-invasive. They're also enjoyable, which opens your heart more towards the experience, opens you to an inward transformation. But because they're non-invasive, there's less risk, and they address the core, I'll say problem, I'll put it in quotes, but they address the core, let's say, coming out of center that happens with people all the time in our modern world. You come out of center in the direction of overly focusing on the past, and that's depression, overly focusing on the future, and that's anxiety. And that's why when we see these technologies, it has a really rapid and vast impact on mental health in general, regardless of if it's presenting as PTSD, if it's presenting as anxiety, if it's presenting as depression. What these technologies really do, SoundSelf, but also inHarmony and together, but also the inHarmony alone, what they really do is they help you come back into your body, and they help you find rest in the body. And once you find rest in the body, all these things that we're seeing, anxiety, fatigue, stress, brain fog, energy, well-being, they all come back into play. And we're beginning to see a sea change in how the mental health institutions, both in the academic world and also with institutions like the FDA, are changing their attitude about a lot of these things. And we're going to see interventions like this become far, far, far more central to serious treatments in the VA, in psychiatric hospitals, not just in people's homes.
Obviously, I couldn't agree with you more. And look, it's our dedication to science and research that is giving us a stage with these 3-letter agencies. It's giving us a path forward to identify, to quantify, and to document exactly what that benefit is through science and research.
Michael, thank you so much for your comment here. Did you see this one, Craig?
Oh yeah, I did. I haven't posted yet because it's a long one, but there it is. And we
Yeah.
could certainly mention it. Michael's been working with inHarmony Tech and SoundSelf for quite some time. And he says, thank you, integrating the inHarmony Sound Lounge and SoundSelf's taken my practice to another level, especially the EMDR as my primary modality. These tools have transformed how I support trauma processing, grounding, and nervous system regulation in both private practice and PHP and IOP settings. I couldn't imagine my work without them, and look forward to what's next to continue enhancing client healing and transformation. So we can talk about what's next as we get into this and as we get towards the end. And Michael is absolutely an amazing supporter of both technologies, and certainly deserves a shout out. Thanks for the comment, Michael. So let's let's just talk about what you kind of touched on, which is the science and the research and what we're seeing in these outcomes,
Mhm.
because this is really where the rubber meets the road for me,
Mhm.
is in actually connecting with our clientele. And this science and research is actually coming from our client, thousands of users that are choosing to participate in what is going to be the world's largest vibroacoustic study. And as you can see, these percentage reductions in anxiety, stress, fatigue, brain fog, these percent increases in relaxation, mental clarity, energy levels, a 92% increase
That's
in energy levels. And
huge.
by the
The
way,
energy levels one is
this is
huge.
not isolated. We see this over and over. This is one case study, and I think our first 12 entries. We're now up over 25 entries. We've doubled it. We're continuing to see these numbers. We have more case studies coming. I'm getting together with Francisco Sidral, Dr. Francisco Sidral, who is our scientific advisory board key player, and we're getting together shooting 2.5 hours of content on tomorrow, actually. And this was from a single vibroacoustic therapy session. So one VAT session, we're seeing these increases and these differences. And I just want to kind of showcase a little bit around what we do here at inHarmony with one quick slide, which is to show all of the different products. And I want to hand that off to you through a caveat of two things. First, that you're hearing and feeling the frequencies at the same time. I want to talk
Mhm.
about what technologies don't work well with SoundSelf and why. And I'm going to
Mhm.
give the floor over to you while we're on this slide. We do work with the inHarmony Sound Lounge 3, the inHarmony Sound Lounge 1, the massage table, and the practitioner 2, and of course the inHarmony Zero Gravity Chair as well. We don't work with the inHarmony meditation cushion. And I want to talk about why that is, because you were very particular about this early on. And I was like, no, I think it's a great idea. Let's use the cushion. And I was wrong. And I just want to share briefly why we don't suggest using SoundSelf with the inHarmony meditation cushion.
Sure. Yeah. It's a reclined experience. SoundSelf is really wants you to sort of like it wants you to forget your body, and it uses
Mhm.
the voice, and uses a felt sense of vibration in your chest that happens when you tone. So SoundSelf, for those of you who don't know, it's an interactive experience. It uses your voice and your breath. And so while the meditation cushion is fantastic for enhancing a meditation practice, that's why it's called the meditation cushion, where you're bringing attention to your posture. What we want is that fully supine experience. And so
Mhm.
my favorite is the ergonomic solutions, the Sound Lounge 3, the Sound Lounge 1, the zero gravity chair. The practitioner works fantastically as well, as does the massage table. But for SoundSelf to work and to get you to have that experience of forgetting your body and just coming into the felt sensation of awareness, we need you to be in that almost sleeping position.
Mhm.
And so that's what these other technologies support.
Indeed.
We
And it
did
is sound
try. We did
frequency.
try the
We
meditation
did.
cushion.
Oh no, we definitely did. It did not go well. It definitely did not go well. So sound frequencies you can hear and feel. I think this actually is a great handoff. Um, and
Great.
and we'll come back to a couple of these slides, but I'm going to fast forward after this one, and that is the intention becomes really, really important. So starting gradually, setting an intention, maintaining consistency, customized for your needs, and then of course seek guidance. All of this, I think, holds true when you're using inHarmony technology and SoundSelf technology. And all of this, by the way, is very similar to the same experience you'd want to have with psychedelic therapy. And
Mhm.
obviously, we're not talking about psychedelic therapy. However, we are talking about reaching altered states of consciousness using your own breath, your own toning, your own, and of course, the combination of our technologies. We might get back to the 4 elements of every session. We might get back to brainwave states. But for now, I want to pass this over to you, Robin, so that you can talk a little bit more about the SoundSelf experience and some of those expectations as well.
That's great. So thank you, Craig. I'll talk briefly about the SoundSelf experience because I want people to know what I'm talking about here. And then I'll get into some of the research as well because I think that's really juicy. So
Mhm.
um, Can you oh, I can just read that. That's great. SoundSelf is a biofeedback therapy system that combines immersive technology and game design to amplify the effectiveness of ancient breath and vocal toning meditation techniques. It's clinically validated to facilitate non-ordinary states in as little as 15 minutes. I'll get into that study. and it provides an unforgettable journey of oneness and wonder. So we specifically target states of oneness because it's those states of oneness where we feel connected to everything, where the uh, uh, you could call it the ego, you could call it the default mode network, but that ongoing narrative making storytelling can find its right place, because so much discontentment and also mental health maladies come from the default mode network gone haywire and not really knowing its proper position in the overall psychology of the human being. And the right psychology of the human being knows its position and in connection to everything else. And we have this, of course, we have this society and everything, so many feedback loops in our society that keep our attention individuated and oriented competitively away from that felt sense of connection. But that felt sense of connection is available to all of us if you just come into a sufficient state of calming, and there's certain techniques that can be especially effective for that. So SoundSelf combines a lot of those techniques together in an interactive, gamified feedback system that virtually guarantees a temporary transition for people who are not already in that state, a temporary transition into that feeling, that felt sense of connection to everything. And for those who already do have that abiding sense of connection, it can help deepen it. So the way this works is, firstly, sensory overload. We use the vibroacoustics, we use light therapy devices, we use music, and we get a person engaging with their voice. But the sensory overload is important because it's comfortable. It's comforting sensory overload, but we relax the body. We keep the person engaged in a practice of vocal toning. So if anybody's ever done a vocal toning meditation, that's like a group ohm. The technology is actually based on group ohming, but it's just long breaths, breathing in, using your whole exhalation to make a sound. Ooh. Now, if you were to do that for 30, 45 minutes, you would have a state experience, but we amplify that with game design. We amplify that with light therapy that responds to your breath and your voice. We amplify it with music that's sampling your voice and also responding to the harmonies that you're choosing, and also with the vibration. So these things all together basically guarantee a state change in about 15 minutes, and it's a very, very gentle and easy state change. So the ego doesn't have this alarming, hey, what's happening? Am I safe? Am I still alive? None of that happens. We just relax you into it. And
I would add, it's
Mhm.
really quite pleasant,
Yeah.
and because you put it here in the second in the second paragraph. So inHarmony is a passive experience. You lay down, you're listening to music, and you're guided into that brainwave state, that deep meditative brainwave state. And by contrast, and I think it's important to note because it's so engaging and interactive, when you add SoundSelf, you are now getting that passive experience, and you're pulled into this experience by toning, and it's very pleasant. It's very soothing and calming. It's not intense in any way, shape, or form. This is not like Wim Hof breath work or, something, getting in an ice bath. This is very pleasant, very soothing, very calming, and guiding you into that state. I think your words were very eloquent and very particular, but I just wanted to come in for anybody that hasn't experienced that. I think it's a really important note that that your body is guided and taken into this place in a very beautiful and passive way, interactively.
Thank you, Craig. Could you pop my screen up so I could show people what the product looks like?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So when you get the system, it looks like this. We're offering inHarmony users, we offer them 12 months of our signature subscription service, but I'll get into that in a little bit. What I just want people to visualize this. So you get this system, it comes with a tablet, and that's nice because for most of our customers are professionals. And so we have this bespoke tablet that's designed specifically for SoundSelf. We have these two peripherals, which is the headset and the lights. It's very easy to set up, and the software updates itself. So I'll show you what the software looks like here. When you get your software, I was actually just noticing for mine, this was bumping, which tells me that there's an update. So it self-updates here. But mostly you're going to be looking at this. Right now, we have 2 different modes, and each mode has 3 different sessions. The skills training modes are 40 minutes long, and they specifically focus on using that voice interaction technique in order to train a skill. So my favorite one, for example, is surrender response. A lot of our customers are ketamine therapists and psychedelic practitioners, and so we specifically use this session to train the surrender response. SoundSelf's very good at inherently training the surrender response, but it has built-in programming that reinforces that. Then we have these integration sessions as well. And by the way, we are adding more sessions all the time and more modes all the time as we get feedback from our customers. Like I said, we do updates about once a month. And every time we do updates, we're adding more content, we're adding more features. But right now we have these integration sessions as well. These are shorter sessions. They're only 25 minutes long, and they're designed to be worked with in conjunction with therapy. So my favorite one here is this transitions one, grief and appreciation, which is designed to evoke a felt sensation of grief. And that's wonderful when it combines with a trained practitioner who is holding space for you and then can use that grief that comes up in order to help you get to know yourself better, in order to help you process some real grief that's happening in your life. So these are designed very much, the whole software is designed with practitioners in mind to enhance the therapies that they're doing for their clients and to help their clients go deeper into their own transformations. So I'm just going to give you a little brief introduction to what this sounds like. And if you're interested in going more, you can go to that website, soundself.com/inHarmony for inHarmony users. And there's a little preview here that you can listen to. Doesn't give you the interaction, of course, because it can't do that, but it's nice to listen to and you'll get a sense of what it's like. So if I hit launch here, it'll just take a second. Here it comes. So you should be able to hear that music. Craig, you can interrupt if you can't hear anything. You have the opportunity to start calibration, which just allows you to find the right levels of light and vibration and sound for your client's needs. We're working on this UI, by the way. One of the next updates is going to have improvements on the UI. Or you can start the experience. So it starts with a guided meditation to set the stage and to train the interaction. And then it moves into this fully interactive sequence where you're instructed in toning. So I'm just going to let you hear about a minute of this. It's not going to get into the interactive part yet. You can see the volume bar here. This is just tracking my microphone.
Welcome. It's nice to see you again. In just a minute, we are going to tone together. But first, let's just slow down and take a breath together. Long and deep. And remember, whatever happened before you arrived here, let's just leave the outside outside. And we start by lying down. And let the body be as it is. What we are about to experience together is all about using the voice. Soon, I will guide you with some instruction. After that, you will keep going on your own.
So I'm going to fade us out there, unfortunately. You got to hear there some of my 2 favorite collaborators on this project, Lorna Doone, who's an incredible musician, and James Rowland, who is the voice of the experience. He's an ayahuasquera we work with out of Guatemala. My wife's teacher has this phenomenal voice. And he's just done so many ceremonies, and you really feel the ceremonial intelligence in the experience design and the voiceover.
Jai's amazing.
He's great. He's great.
Goodness, his voice is so spectacular.
Can I get briefly into just some of the research to complement some of what you shared earlier, and then we'll get back into a conversation?
Absolutely. We're pushing 30 minutes.
That's okay. I think we're interesting.
I'll
keep it quick though. If you share my screen, we talked about brain waves. This is an opportunity to get into brain waves. So, in our first study, this is a pilot study, so relatively small in size, but we did an EEG study with Dr. Jeff Tarrant, who, by the way, anybody who's listened to the telepathy tapes, I was surprised to hear Jeff Tarrant interviewed on that. But he's one of the best EEG researchers there is. And so we saw, let's see, here it is. This is what we
know you were working, Jeff.
He's great.
He's incredible. I can't actually until you stop sharing your screen. I've got a lot to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so what we see in SoundSelf, and by the way, this is before we integrated inHarmony. So what you will see when you integrate inHarmony, I'm sure, is even higher. And it's also in the original version before we went through a whole musical redesign and interactive redesign. So we haven't done an EEG study since then, but I'm sure what you would see now is better. We basically saw the exact same brainwave signature as you see in a person undergoing large doses of psychedelics. So that's a deactivation of the parts of the brain associated with the default mode network. And what I was shocked to see, I shouldn't have been shocked just based on anecdotally what we've seen again and again and again, but I was still shocked when I saw the actual brainwave study, is this increase of gamma waves all over the brain. So for people who don't know, generally what we're targeting with these kinds of technologies is alpha states and theta states. Now, you always have all of the different brainwaves going. It's just how you shift the balance of them. We generally want to see a deactivation of beta, and especially high beta. Those are associated with thinking and stress. You go through your day. Most of the day, you have a dominant high beta activity. There's usually not a lot of gamma activity in the brain, but I'll get to that in a moment. Alpha is associated with that kind of trance state. That you even see alpha if you're in a very deeply relaxed state and your mind disengages. That's alpha, and alpha has this effect of helping the other parts of the brain communicate with one another. And it's also necessary before you get into these deeper healing states like theta. Theta is associated with dreams, intuition, and delta, which is the values of deep sleep. So we're seeing red as an increase, by the way. In SoundSelf, we're seeing increases in theta, increases in delta, decreases in alpha, which is actually what you expect to see in a psychedelic state specifically. But look at gamma. The brain is just alive with gamma, and gamma is specifically associated with profound insight. So you don't get, generally through your day-to-day activities, even unless you're in a very, very deeply meditative state, you don't expect to see gamma. You do expect to see gamma in a deep, deep meditation and in psychedelic states. So this was our first study. We also had, we compared this with an active placebo of a virtual reality meditation experience. And we had, generally we found the blue line here is SoundSelf, the green line is psilocybin, the orange line is the control, which is a guided meditation. We generally see SoundSelf lying between what you expect from a guided meditation and what you expect from psilocybin in terms of these aspects of a non-ordinary state or mystical state experience. So I'm not going to go into this right now. It's very interesting, but it would take a long time. But if you are curious about these things, just reach out to me or check out our website. Then another study, there's just two more studies I wanted to show you quickly. I'll skip this one actually, or I'll just briefly share it because you did such a great job sharing, Craig, about the benefits of inHarmony. But what we see is PHQ-9 scores, that's depression, they decrease. GAD-7 scores, that's anxiety, that decreases. Mindfulness increases. WHO-5 for wellness increases. So these are self-reports. Mysticism also increases. So these are things that, as we go into a wider study, are going to be the foundation for a mental health play for us to ultimately get these technologies into the places, hospitals and so on, where they're looking for very, very large studies and so on. And I think we're going to outperform. I think Vibroacoustics and inHarmony, and I think SoundSelf are going to outperform the standard of care. The last thing I'm just going to briefly showcase is we did one study, or Dr. Nadine Causey did one study out of Palm Beach Atlantic University, SoundSelf with ketamine, and we saw pretty dramatic improvements in many of these things that people are going into ketamine treatment for. And so that's why so many of our customers, so many people using ketamine are now integrating SoundSelf into it and seeing phenomenal results. So I'll pass the baton back to you, Craig. I just wanted to share some of the studies there.
Absolutely fantastic and super grateful. All right, let's talk about our partnership, and let's talk about how these two products kind of play well together. And we've obviously been doing this for a long time. We have a partnership page on the inHarmony website. We have a partnership page on the SoundSelf website. And if you have inHarmony products, you can add SoundSelf. And if you have SoundSelf products, you can add inHarmony. And it's this very beautiful partnership that we've had for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And either of them alone, but when you combine inHarmony with SoundSelf, it's just phenomenal. We sell inHarmony products on our page, and most of our professionals will often, if they don't get the inHarmony system right away, they usually get it about 6 months down the line, because they see once you experience SoundSelf, you get an immediate sense for how the vibroacoustic layer is going to improve it.
So, Robin, if you could just talk for a moment, because first of all, what you've created has changed so much over the years. Just the evolution of your technology. You are a developer. You're the main developer behind all of this. Your brain, how it pulls all these different modalities together, I think is beautiful and wonderful on so many different levels. But talk for a little bit about where you are today and what that looks like, and what our customers that want to add SoundSelf to their inHarmony setup will be getting.
Great. Yeah. So I shared earlier, just gave a brief look at the technology, but you get this tablet, you get this whole biofeedback suite. So it uses the light therapy glasses, it uses the headphones. We send some patient-facing educational materials as well. And it all just works so neatly together. And we have a new subscription program that we've just launched called Evolution, SoundSelf Evolution, which has all these extra features that we're developing. So specifically features for professionals. We're integrating AI features into it as well. Extra content so that you could use varied forms of SoundSelf sessions of different durations, different vocalists, or voiceover artists, different meditations, often focused on different targeted outcomes. However, we've designed it to be optional. We've designed the premium subscription, which is $50 a month, to be optional, and it runs without that. However, partners who are part of this network who use the inHarmony code will get 12 months of that premium subscription for free, just as a thank you for coming onto the platform and for being part of this. We know, I love our inHarmony customers because they already get it. They already get the value of these sensory immersive experiences. They're already practicing it. And so I love working with them. And so that's our way of saying thank you. Thank you for being part of this network. And thank you for integrating us into your system. And we look forward to working with you. So that's the offer. It's
really straightforward, by the way. So there's a little bit of nuance anytime you're adding any type of technology to inHarmony. However, it is so plug and play. You're literally just connecting everything, which is relatively straightforward, and then connecting the output from the Casina set directly into the audio in board. So the software and the Casina is driving the experience. It's really quite easy and very engaging. So if you're using this in practice, or if you're using our technology for your own mental health, I think this is a phenomenal add-on, something that we use here. I have it set up next to my Sound Lounge 1. It's really a phenomenal use case, and a phenomenal display of the two technologies.
Yeah, it just connects by what a lot of our users, inHarmony users, do is they'll a lot of our inHarmony users will use SoundSelf with the auxiliary cable, and because your amplifier just has a button to switch between Bluetooth and auxiliary, so they'll just have it so that they can press that button to move on to Bluetooth, where they have their phone paired with it, or they'll press the button to go back to auxiliary, where they have SoundSelf paired with it.
Easy peasy. Easy peasy. All right, we do have a question. We actually have a couple of questions that have come up in these conversations. This is our contact info. If you want to get in touch with me, you can call or email, and likewise,
could we put the promotion page up? SoundSelf.com/inHarmony. Do you have a way of sharing that?
Maybe.
Anyway,
obviously you would ask me to do that in real time, of course. Why not?
Anyway, it's SoundSelf.com/inHarmony, or I think it's inHarmony.com/SoundSelf.
Let's figure out what to do there.
I'll tell you what. I'll hit Steven's question while you figure that out, so people can.
That sounds great. Steven, and then Michael's got a question as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So Steven said, Robin, I bought the pre-tablet package and then immediately upgraded to the tablet. Awesome. When we promoted the new tablet platform, how do I access the 12-month premium subscription? Thanks. Yes. Let's go here. What we do here is.
Want me to share your screen?
Yes, please. Thank you. So for you, because you came through as one of our early partners, what you'll do is you'll go to your account screen here. Here is where you'll see the option to get the SoundSelf Evolution subscription. And I've already started the subscription, so you can't see the button here, but there's a button here to begin a trial. It's a 2-month trial. And Stephen, you can just email me, and I'll work on the back end to figure out the 12-month thing for you. So that's how you do that. And for anybody else just interested in, there's usually a pop-up as well that will come up here sometimes to remind you. What we do with our new customers as well is there's a hardware protection plan. So for people who enroll in the subscription service or in the trial in that first 2 months, they get ongoing hardware protection for as long as their subscription is current, which is really nice. And Stephen, that'll apply to you as well. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead, and it looks like I've sent Craig on a wild goose chase. Sorry, Craig.
You have, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. Michael's got a comment here that I'm sure you can answer, and I don't think you need a slide deck for it.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my headline be the website.
You've got your headline, what?
Yeah, check it out. It says Robin Arnott, SoundSelf.com/inHarmony.
Yeah, so this is the inHarmony page. And then it's really easy for me to actually switch to this as well, so that you can see both pages and what we're doing here. Very cool. All right, so let's address Michael's question. I've noticed clients drop into alpha theta states faster when combining SoundSelf with neurofeedback. Have you seen similar patterns or data to support that?
It's an interesting question. Sounds a biofeedback system, and I can absolutely see. I am not at all surprised that because if you engage in neurofeedback, I'm curious if you're using neurofeedback before, after, or somehow during SoundSelf. But I would imagine that if you begin with neurofeedback, either way, if you begin with the biofeedback and then move into neurofeedback, these technologies stack really well. It's true of inHarmony. It's true of SoundSelf. SoundSelf is a stacking with inHarmony, but you combine those with other therapeutic modalities, you'll find pretty specifically, if you start with SoundSelf or if you start with inHarmony and then move into another modality, the other modality you'll tend to have more success with because the person is relaxed, the person is feeling open, and so on. But it works the other way as well. So if you're starting with neurofeedback, that gets the brain, I don't know the scientific term for the technical term for it, but more responsive. And so I'm not at all surprised that you would find a quicker response for heart rate variability, a quicker response for EEG, a quicker response just for the subjective response to it if you begin with neurofeedback.
Yeah.
But like
I would,
go on.
I would just echo that sentiment. And that is, when the body is relaxed, you begin to see all sorts of different benefits, not just in the brain, but in all of the various biofeedback tools and scenarios, and a bunch of other modalities as well. This is great before body work. It's great before psychedelic therapy. It's great before talk therapy. It's great. Any therapeutic modality, for the most part, that you're going to engage in, using SoundSelf and inHarmony prior to calm and relax, to bring the person in a state, you're going to have, in my opinion, a positive outcome on just about any other modality that you're going to look at or stack before or after what we're doing. And for all the reasons that you brought up, a calm and relaxed individual is an individual that's going to be more focused. That's going to, all of the different things you saw on the science side of both inHarmony and SoundSelf is further amplified when you combine these two together in a very beautiful way.
Yeah, I love the creativity of and just seeing how different practitioners combine their primary interventions. I think people really intuitively get it. A lot of people do. People who are approaching their craft and their practice in this creative and open-minded way.
Well, I think that's the beautiful aspect. So Michael says he starts with a baseline, then introduces SoundSelf, then another collection of data. Look, I think that's the beautiful aspect of our shared client. And I'll give a quick shout out to the thousands of folks that are using inHarmony and many that are adding SoundSelf. The exploratory fashion in which they go about these different modalities of tinkering and trying and testing and like, I don't know what happens. Let's try it. Let's see what happens when we do this and then that. In my opinion, is it's what really makes the magic when it comes to what we do and how we do it in a very profound and beautiful way.
I love it. I love your customer base so much. Your user base. It's true. There's a self-selection for people who are using these. People who are using the inHarmony are people who recognize the value of holistic intervention and who recognize the value of treating your client or yourself as a whole being who's not only a body, but also a body mind and also body mind spirit, and sees the value in bringing all of those elements into coherence. And those people are a lot easier to, I think, grok the sea change that I described at the beginning of our conversation much more quickly. Whereas I love the academic minded ones as well, who are a little bit more linear thinking. But I think it's this is kind of the first wave of it, and then we'll create the educational materials and the metrics and so on to help those people get those benefits for their clients as well.
So grateful for our time together, Robin. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll do this again and again and again as we continue to get the word out on these two technologies and how they complement one another.
Super happy to.
Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate you.
Blessings. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Bye-bye, everybody.